Welcome to the Real Estate Podcast and Agent's Guide. I am Ashley Gebora with my co-host Clint Neighbors. Together we bring you the latest insights, stories, and strategies from the front lines of the Houston real estate. Of Houston real estate. Oh my gosh. As part of the Blair Realty Group family, we're here to guide, educate, and empower you on all things real estate. Disclaimer, this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. Real estate laws and practices can vary by location and may change over time. If you're an agent from another market or listening to an older episode, please consult your local governing bodies or broker for current rules and compliance. Nothing in this show should be considered legal or professional advice for your specific situation. So today, Clint O'Bean and I are talking about mindset and your why.
Yes, we are.
Okay. I don't ever know where you're supposed to insert yourself in this, but I feel like every start of the episode, it's always a little awkward because I just have to stop talking to let you say something.
I think we should just continue that.
But then we spend most of the rest of the episode where you talk and I just kind of insert myself randomly.
There is that.
So it is what it is, whatever.
The show has
I bookend the show.
I need someone to ask me questions and keep me on track.
Yes. So today we don't really have a script. We're just talking about something that honestly matters more than tactics. Mm-hmm. It's what actually drives you as an agent. Not your goals on paper, but the reason you show up in this business. So I don't know how you want to kick it off, but I think we should talk about sort of external motivators and drive. Define, please.
Yeah, this morning I woke up and I don't know, this was on my heart. We were
talking, we had no plan here.
We were like, okay, we need to record another episode and what are we going to do? And we've really been thinking and talking about this a lot, mm-hmm. but not intentionally. I think it just keeps coming up. You know, we're in February right now. People are, I guess, figuring out their goals, how they're going to adjust. And when you're really getting people to dig down into, all right, what am I going to do as a real estate agent and as a career?
Right.
We have to find where are we digging into? What are we pulling from to try to get people to do more, to do mm-hmm. better, to really be the best version of themselves? Mm-hmm. And so I've been listening to a lot of books. I've been listening to a lot of coaches and just like, okay, what works for me may not work for you, and it may not work for 50 other people. So I've really been a student of how do we articulate different ways to try to get people to find their intrinsic and the external motivations that work for them.
Right.
So this will be, I guess, a culmination of some of those things. Mm-hmm. And I know that you and Kaci do a lot of training on this stuff as well, mm-hmm. With the mentoring. And, you know, it's year round for you because, you know, you're bringing in new agents and training them. You have to set goals when people start.
Right.
So it'll be cool to kind of hear what is working for you and for people that you're bringing into the brokerage. And, you know, I'll share my heart a little bit about what works for me. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, the power of story, I think is important. We've been talking about that a lot lately. So I want people to kind of hear our story a little mm-hmm. bit, and hopefully that will motivate or enlighten people in the audience just to be able to say, okay, that's a different way to think of it. I need to find what it is that works for me, not what other people tell me it should be.
Okay. So we now have a guest on the podcast. This is the most unplanned, almost unhinged episode, but anyway.
So yeah, really the heart of this today is helping you guys at home just kind of figure out what it is that is going to drive you. Mm-hmm. What's your passion? I think we tend to push people into doing things that they're not comfortable with. And unfortunately, like real estate, it's not for everyone. And I think people need to figure out, okay, is this going to be for me? Mm-hmm. And can I find something internally that is going to push me to get out of bed, to do hard things, to do the things that will help you be successful in real estate? As coaches and as educators, as mentors, our job is really to help people find what it is they're going to be good at. And you should enjoy your job. You should want to do it. I heard something the other day that kind of changed my perspective on it a little bit. And it's not that, you know, we have to go and find our passion. It's more of have our passion find us. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't thought about that. So find something that you are passionate about. And like for real estate, I mean, I'm passionate about real estate. I love selling homes and doing the things that help people.
You're jumping ahead to my segment too.
Oh, so we don't even need questions. I can just do them. I'm kidding.
Yeah. So pause on that because I definitely want to talk about that. But I want to start with some whys because things like money, awards, that might not be there for a long time when you get into real estate. So you have to have your internal motivators, mm-hmm. What are some of y'all's internal motivators?
Well, first off, my name is Kaci and I'm the guest.
and the husband.
And nobody introduced me.
I'm sorry, afterthought. Let's bring you back here. Sorry. You know what? This just is what it is today. We felt motivated to have this conversation, but
You should just feel blessed that we invited you into this.
I literally was like, can you go drop everything you're doing and come on the podcast now? And he kindly did so. And the thing is I never introduced Kaci, and it's like a long-standing joke that he's always standing there. And sometimes he'll just wait and see, and sometimes I never do. And other times he'll just he'll be like, and I'm Kaci, like when I've been talking to somebody for like 5-10 minutes. Yeah. Sorry. So this is just
I was introduced
a
as
regular
Clinto Bean today.
Yes, that's true.
So
maybe I shouldn't be like one of the hosts.
Kaci is now the host.
You know, I was waiting to see if you guys were going to introduce me before you passed it back.
We are terrible hosts.
I'm
we apologize.
so sorry.
It's all right.
Sorry.
What was the question?
What are some of your internal motivators? I don't even want to know now.
Spite.
Yes, spite.
No,
that makes sense.
For me, I think what's most motivating is just helping people. That's where I really can hearken back, especially on the tough days. You know, like there's always tough days in anything you do. So especially in real estate, it's important to kind of be able to take a step back and look at the big picture. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's helping people not only just, you know, find their homes and sell their homes and all that, but also real estate gives me a platform that I can also branch out and try to help other people as well.
I think that's why you see a lot of former teachers get into real estate too. It kind of like satisfies that same desire that I think most teachers have, is to help people, educate people through the process. And yeah, there's a lot of us here, except you, Clint.
True.
You're born a real estate agent. You're born with contracts in hand.
So it's funny because originally, you know, I was pre-med. I wanted to be a doctor, and business was nowhere in the cards for me all through high school. Like I can't type. You know, y'all laugh about that because I'm a terrible
He's
typist.
the loudest typer. You'd think he was on an old school typewriter.
Like, well, that's how I learned. So I'm like aggressively
Show us your age without showing your age.
like 2 fingers.
Yeah.
But no, it's like life changed, and what I thought I wanted to do in my life that didn't work out. That wasn't part of God's plan, and then I find myself in college, and you know, honestly, the reason I got into real estate, I don't know if I've told y'all this, it was the shortest major at Baylor when I was going to Baylor.
I did not know that.
It was a 12-hour major.
That tracks.
It does. I was paying my own way through school, and I'd already failed out my freshman year at a 0.5 GPA, so I was making up lost time, and I really just wanted to finish and get out, and you know, I didn't really care for school, so I followed my wife now, you know, girlfriend at the time, to school. And so I got into real estate. That was kind of part of it. And then Amy's dad was a realtor, and he was very successful. So I was like, okay, well, you know, maybe that'll be interesting. So I, you know, worked with him a little bit. So I didn't have a passion for it when I first started. So I really got in. It was kind of a means probably to an end at the time. And I was thinking, you know, there's probably decent money in it. I was oblivious to what it actually was like to get into real estate and into being an entrepreneur and self-employed, all those things. And so my passion came over time. You know, I quit real estate 3 times. So I've actually like burned out and left the business 3 different times. And it wasn't until I came back this last time and I did things differently that I was like, okay, now the passion started finding me. And it was more in leading and the educating of people, that piece of it, really guiding people through the process, whether it be my clients or other agents. So that's where when I created the team and I started focusing on doing the things that I like in the business and delegating and automating and eliminating. So getting all the things I didn't like and getting that off my plate, then I can really shine in the things that I'm good at. Because I feel like I'm good at talking to people. I'm good at rapport building. I'm good at finding clients. I'm good at, you know, negotiating. So there's a lot of things over time I did figure out that I loved about it. But there's a lot I didn't. And you know, some of the things you guys like I didn't like the contract. I don't like writing the contract. I'm good at it. I don't care to do it all the time.
Right.
So really it can change. You know, I think that's, you know, just because you don't have a passion for something today doesn't mean you can't find a way to make it work for you over time. But it does take time.
Yeah.
And takes a lot of energy, a lot of effort, a lot of intentionality.
Yeah. And I think if you don't have, and we're going to get into like finding your passion, but especially when you're a new agent, if you don't have that why, I feel like at the forefront of your mind, we see this all the time, especially Kaci and I working with new agents. They will burn out. They don't make that money in the first couple of months. We've had agents who quit their full-time job immediately and do the wrong activities, and then they don't make money, and then they quit real estate. They just get burnt out so fast. And you have to have your why at the forefront, and of course, you need to be focused on the right activities.
A lot of discipline with the right activities. And, I think we're going to talk about that a little bit. What are some of these activities that we need to be focusing on?
So I'm going to ask you first, Kaci, what was your first, this is why I do this moment in real estate?
Probably one of my favorite moments. I don't know if it was my first or not, but there was a really emotional transaction we worked on where we helped a pretty much completely blind woman get her first home. She was in her mid-60s and she had kind of written it off like it was never going to be her thing. And that was one of those emotional closings. Like, she was super happy, her kids were super happy, and we got to be there with them. And then of course they took us out to Texas Roadhouse, so that was
worth it.
That was worth it.
Yeah,
it was one of those good feeling
that
ones.
That was a great one too, because we tried to work with them initially. And they were primarily Spanish speakers. And they were like, we want someone that's fully Spanish speaking. We were like, okay, no hard feelings. We had worked with the daughter. And that agent had done some bad business. And so then they came back to us. And that was an amazing closing. It was a good one. Good memory. First, I was like, which one?
My name is Kaci.
Stop.
In case you forgot.
Yeah. Clint, what was your this is why I do this moment?
So I think after the last time I had gotten out of real estate and gotten back in, it's not the real estate side of it. It's what comes from having the means that real estate can provide for me. Y'all know that missions is a big part of my life. I think everything I do really is focused on what can I do to serve globally with our missionaries. And that's something over the last few years where my wife and I have really identified that our passion, our calling, we're good at the real estate thing. And I do love it. And I love helping people through that in both the coaching and the selling side. But what can I do with the money that's made from that? And, we travel all over the world, and missionary care is something that was put on our heart several years ago that I didn't even know existed. And that's just helping keep the missionaries in the field. So all of our extra time goes to learning how to serve them, how to do debriefings, how to help people through that hard process, the traumas and the things that they go through, living overseas. So we do a lot of things over in Asia and Africa. And, those are hard places. It's fun for us. It's an adventure for us to go to those places and just be a part of that culture. But really it's when we're working with people and we're helping with their marriages, we're helping with communication, we're helping keep them in the field and keep their head straight. That's the most rewarding thing for us. And when I come back, it's like, okay, I want to sell more houses, I want to help more people, but I also want to do that so that I can create time where I can have this system that works, which we do. So having the team that's a very well-oiled machine, I can still sell houses, I can still run things from anywhere in the globe with the way technology is today.
Right.
And I have the freedom to be able to go for a week or two at a time to these places to do what is our passion now. So, when I first took this job here, that was one of the things I think I said in the very first interview was, this is very important to me. And I will not take a job where I can't get away when I need to get away, when I want to get away for my, whether it's personal or our mission trips. So this year I think we'll be gone, probably 5-6 weeks out of the year. Doing that. I think Amy, my wife, she'll be gone even more. Yeah. So yeah, it's what drives me every day is I wake up and say, and I love this from John Maxwell. It's something that really has sat with me for the last several years. Wake up and there's two things on my mind. I want to glorify God and I want to add value to other people's lives. So if I can just do those two things every day, then it's a good day. That's a success. And I can do it with our agents. I can do it with our clients. I can do it with our kids, with just people we come in contact with. If I can add value to people's lives every day, then I've done what I'm supposed to do. And how do I do that? That's where I just have to listen for the voice and say, okay, this is what you want me to do today. This is where I'm going next month.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I just like being an advocate for people.
So are we supposed to ask you now?
No, nobody did, and it's fine. It's kind of what I get. I didn't even introduce Kaci. I was just like,
I forgot the question. So
what is it that drives you, Ashley?
I do. I like to advocate for people. I like to be like a warrior for others, I think. I mean, I know. I don't think. I'm just like, that's the first thing that came to my mind is I really like to fight for people, not in like a confrontational way, but I like to speak up for people, advocate for people.
Yeah, you do a good job of it.
Thanks. Yeah, that's that. But also like my bigger like goals. I love traveling other cultures, and I don't want to be like Bible beady, but it really is like we have some missions that are also near and dear to our heart, and it is seeing what God's doing all across the world, and that's really for anybody who believes in anything. It doesn't really matter. Just seeing how other people live, but I also like when we've gone to Burundi. I mean, it's like one of the poorest countries in the world, and the second you get out and they're dancing and so happy to see you, man, I couldn't help but just like cry. I was a freaking sack of tears because I was like, man, you guys are like so happy and you can't even like afford shoes or anything, but you guys are just so like you have so much joy and other things that you're looking at that you really do have to take like money and things like that out of it. I mean,
it makes you realize when you go to these third world countries that they have joy in just life, and it's not the stuff that gives them joy.
Yes,
it's they have a peace, they have a faith that I don't see here, and that's one thing I do love when going to Africa and going to Thailand and going to these places where you just see people they're appreciative that you're there and wanting to pour into them, and they're not worried about making their mortgage payments and what car they're driving and shoes on their feet. And we took our kids several times to Africa, and that's one thing that it's really carried with them, that they have a different understanding and a different just perspective of what is important in life, because you can't take this stuff with you,
right?
And I think
not even your money.
Yeah, you can't take the money. What we talked about this morning in Bible study, you don't see a hearse pulling a U-Haul behind it.
Yeah.
And so, so it really is. I hope that other people out there, that you find what it is that you can do to help other people be better, whether it's here locally or globally or wherever. There's plenty of need all over.
So just for you agents, if you had to describe what your why in one sentence that isn't about money, what would that be? And you need to really ponder on that, because that's it's going to be kind of what's dangling in front of you at all times. And you need to remember that, because this business isn't easy. The money's going to take a long time to come. And there's going to be seasons that are going to be definitely tougher than others. But when you're a new agent, you have to have that why in front of you at all times.
Yeah. And I was listening to Coach Michael Burt. He's somebody I've just started listening to. I really like his books and podcasts and things. And he's not a huge proponent of why, finding your why. His is it's just reworded, but it's your because goals. I do this because, or I want to do this because, and I like that, because not everybody has a why, or not everyone's found it. And if you get too stuck on finding that first, then you never go and do anything. So if you simplify and just say, well, I want to do this because I want to have a better life and I want to help other people. I'm doing it because I want to pay my bills and eat and all the different things. I found that to be a good way for some people to think of. I think he's right in that. So just kind of find what works for you, and don't be ashamed or embarrassed, or if you can't come up with your why, then wait for it to find you.
So that brings me into the next part of this, letting your passion find you. So what parts of this business, and this is kind of a general question, but we can talk about it, the three of us. What part of this business do you lose track of time doing? The things where you look up and an hour just disappeared. Is it talking to people, digging into MLS data, negotiating, creating content, planning events? What is it for you? So agents, you also think about that, but Clint and Kaci, like Kaci, you go first. What are your things that you just completely lose track of doing?
Like, in the positive, like I get so enveloped in it, like I'm okay.
Doesn't feel like a job anymore.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love teaching. Like I really enjoy educating and talking to people, and especially on topics that I get excited about. Like my classes routinely go over time because I get so excited.
You do, and you're known as like a quieter guy, but you really do shine when you're teaching.
I've heard mute sometimes. So
It doesn't even have a name.
I know. Forgot you were here.
No, I get pretty excited when I teach, and it's easy for me to lose track of time. So
I love that. Clint, what do you lose track of doing?
Talking.
Talking.
Yeah.
For real. just talking to anyone. I mean, people are always pulling me away from conversations because I go from one to another. I love talking to people. I love learning about people. I'm getting better over time of not talking about myself as much. Like I'm trying to balance having that attitude of curiosity, of really learning about other people and engaging and listening. It's a skill, that you have to develop. And the more you do it, the more I love hearing people's story. And so I think, talking, rapport building, going out, when I'm finding my new clients, and, some people call it prospecting, I call it relationship building time, because that's where I get lost in building relationships. I'm very relational. I'm not transactional. And I think that's what I love everywhere I go, every part of my life. That is where I'm doing my business, because it's my life. I make my business, my prospecting time, my relationship building time is in life. So whether it be with the kids in band, or at dance, or at birthdays, or wherever, I'm an extroverted person who I'm social, and I'm opposite of my wife. So that's always been an interesting thing. And I find that's the case a lot of times with people, finding that balance of what, figure out what fills you up. For me, it's people. People really energize me and fill me up. And then, the planning of things, so my coaching, when I'm doing my coaching, like reading, listening to books, I get lost in that, because, I try to listen to or read at least one book a week. And I'm well over probably 25 books this year already, because that's what I love. Like I want to learn. I want to just be in the Word, whether it be at church or whether it be in learning about psychology, or how to sell, or how to be better as a coach. So my coach prepping time, I really get lost in that. And then my wife reminds me sometimes, like, okay, you need to sell houses too.
Yeah, that's true. The prep time doesn't necessarily make money just doing that.
So there is that. But then I love being like listing appointments. They're usually 2, 3, 4 hours long.
Yeah.
Because it's half of the time is just us talking.
Dear God, a 4-hour listing appointment.
Oh my gosh, that's like average for me. But they're my friends when I come out. Sometimes they're friends when I go in. But a lot of times.
Do you bring pajamas?
I don't, actually.
I brought my suitcase.
So I've learned to start them earlier.
That's funny. Yeah.
Not go till midnight. So, yeah. What about you?
I like rules, and I'm a very black and white person, and I don't like when I see gray areas, and I like to make rules and kind of dealing with compliance. I do like being a go-to person for agents. I like being trusted with, knowledge and information and how to do certain things. So I appreciate the learning. I appreciate creating. I got so lost, y'all, and the policies and procedures. I spent so much of my time on that.
That was a lot.
And it was a really great time for me. I really enjoyed myself.
We didn't see you for 2 months.
I know. Like me and Clint started working on it, and then it was so much back and forth. I was like, I really just want to get lost here now and just kind of go work on this by myself, and I'll come back to you when I need you.
And I'm ADD, so
I know. So that was
hard.
That was hard. So Clint counseled, and then I just kind of went off on my own, and then Clint counseled, and I went off on my own. But I do like getting lost and making contracts and things like that. So that's fun for me. But
not interested.
I know. Well, that's why I think we're all like completely talented in different things. So that's why CAC works. Okay. That's why CAC works. So easing into the curiosity, and I guess really leaning into the things that you like doing it. So making it concrete and visual, picturing your week. Where do you feel the most energized? So for agents, is that sitting at a listing table, telling your story about a house, writing and negotiating offers, teaching other agents or even your clients, answering their questions? Is it recording and making content? Where do you feel the spark? So what sparks?
Who are you asking?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's I'm asking agents to think about it, but also for like you guys, you could just add to it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of what we were just talking about, and then a little bit more with that.
Yeah. So if you're listening and thinking, honestly, none of this lights me up, that does not mean that you're broken or in the wrong business, but you probably haven't found your spark yet. So I would challenge you to do that. Clint, what are some ideas that you have so agents can find their spark?
I will say, if talking to people does not interest you, this probably is not the right job, because there's so much of having to talk to people, because it's all about building relationship. I love building relationships. That's probably why I'm so good at real estate. That's why I have so much business, because I can connect people. I'm a connector, and people like they trust me, but I have built this relationship over these years, and I can build trust quickly. So then they come to me with a lot of needs, and I'm hoping that one day it's the real estate need as well. I think the going on listings is fun for me. I love going on listing appointments. I love the data. I love data. So I love pulling up the data, figuring out it's a game. Like it's fun to say, okay, this house here with all of these things, this is the price that I think we need to come up. So creating the story of that and deciphering, and determining value or value range, that's a lot of fun for me. And using the data and analyzing it and then presenting that in a way where people can understand. And I present it in several different ways because some people need graphs and some people just need numbers. So I'm always aware of that. So I need to figure out, it's fun for me to figure out, okay, what's your personality type? How do you learn? How do you process information? And then try to relay that information. So very quickly you're having to assess, and then you're pivoting in the listing of what is going to resonate with them. And sometimes it's two totally different conversations you have to have.
And I think that's super intimidating for new agents. So that takes time and experience. And especially when you become very competent in like the community or whatever you're working on, you feel like you don't feel like you're backed into a corner. You feel like with your expertise, you can kind of come up with like a solution for your clients or a price point, especially when they're kind of challenging you on it. Data is definitely your friend.
I was thinking about this morning. I was scared of video. I was scared of like podcast video. I've never done any of this stuff. And I kind of want to go back and listen to my first podcast with you because what I felt like was in like Ricky Bobby when he's standing there and he's like, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
Like it's so awkward.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was terrible. And then now here we are over a year later, and this is like a passion of mine. Like now I love being on video and podcast and sharing. And
you're welcome.
It's fun, right? Like it's something that I look forward to. Kaci, maybe not so much. I don't know. Do you love being on video and audio and different things?
I don't mind, especially if I'm promoting blood drives and food drives and stuff. That's usually where I get on camera.
So if you're passionate about something, then it seems like it's okay, right?
Yeah, it does.
So that's interesting. So for people at home that are scared of this stuff, talk about what you're passionate about. And then it becomes natural, I think.
And it doesn't even always have to be real estate related. I mean, there's agents who've kind of made their niche. They go out and they review restaurants or stores or, whatever. There's lots of different things you can do. People that are into cars, you can go into car shows and do lots of content and video about that. I mean, there's agents who found so many fascinating niches, and we can talk about that in another episode. But they found their niche in real estate.
I think a good book, it's kind of how we've operated from the get-go anyway, but a really good book that's short is The Go-Giver. That's a really good book to plant that seed in agents' minds that they should really be trying to give more than they take.
Absolutely.
And if I would encourage them to start there, because it may be a paradigm shift for them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think we read that almost 20 years ago, previous brokerage that I was at. And it was a paradigm shift. It changed the way I looked at life. And, it's not just taking, it is how much can I give? And and it's a short read. For
it's a very short read.
You can do it in one sitting. I think every realtor, that should be required to get your license.
Yes, I agree. That one is a really good one. Yeah. Anything else you want to add on letting your passion find you? Because now we're going to switch to mindset of a performer, not a passenger.
Yeah, I think just, if people are struggling with that, go out and just do some things. Try lots of different things and figure out what works. I talk to people all the time. I'm coaching and they're saying, well, I don't know a lot of people. I don't want to do a lot. Just go try something, see what feels good. And when you find your thing, you're going to know. And when you say, okay, that was fun and I want to do that again, then that may be and so for some it's a cigar club, it's a wine club, it's NCL, it's an HOA board, which it's crazy. There's so many things where people are
there's passion for everybody.
I love doing that. So where
I think it sounds a little bit fun,
but
be
around people, like that's really what it's all about.
Yeah. HOAs would be kind of weird because I like rules, but I do find HOAs.
You don't want to be hated in them?
I don't because to me I'd be like, I don't care that their mailbox is a little bit chipped. That's not worth it. Like to me that would be so stupid.
You be you.
But I do like having rules and some standards at the same time.
That would be a hard one.
So let's talk about traits of a performer. What would you say are some top performer traits? Clint?
So for me, it's discipline. You have to be very disciplined. Doing hard things, doing the things you don't want to do every single day. You cannot make excuses. You will, and when you do fail, and you will, you're going to have bad days, bad weeks, bad months. I've had periods of time where I haven't done what I know I need to be doing, and instead of just being upset about it and just saying, fine, I'm done, you just say it's okay. And tomorrow I'm going to do better, and I'm going to try to get into a better place. And
So you use setbacks as basically data. Like, how am I going to be better in the future?
yeah, and life happens, you know, like there's things in life that happen that do set you back that you can't control, and it's hard to come out of that. Like when my son died, you know, that was many years of trials. It was very difficult for me to find the motivation to go on, to do anything.
Yeah.
And it was a kind of a fake it till you make it mentality. I mean, I hate that, but that's really what I had to do because I had to pay the bills. I had to provide for my family. And I think until I got to a place where I could really let it go and be okay with it, it was hard, you know. So we have people here right now that, you know, there's death and there's cancer and there's all these things. We can't let that define us.
Right.
And I think that's where your top performers, they're going to find a way through it, and then they're going to learn from it, and they're going to use that as a future motivation to drive and do better and connect with other people that have been through that and help pull them alongside and pull them out of that rut. And do it together. So it's building community through the hard things that we've done in life. I think the other things that for a top performer would be we take shots. We don't sit and overanalyze. We can't be a perfectionist in things. We don't get stuck in, okay, I'm going to plan, and then I'll execute. You just have to go out there at 60, 70% and be okay and say, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to have some people helping me, and I'm going to have mentors. I'm going to have coaches. I'm going to fill in the gaps, but I'm going to try, and I'm just going to have those conversations. I'm going to see if I can build something. And I think that's where I was different because I was 21 years old when I started in real estate, and I didn't know anything. I didn't know people. I'd never bought a house, but I just went out there and started doing things and trying things. And then you take enough shots, eventually something is going to stick. And then you may do things wrong, try to keep it legal and try to follow the laws and the rules and different things and ethics and all of that. And then you learn from your mistakes. I think I've learned more from my mistakes than I've learned from a lot of my successes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't make excuses for them.
Yeah, just say, okay, I'm not going to do that again, or that was kind of weird, or how can I do that better? And you go ask for advice. Yeah. And now my passion with that is teaching other people not to make all the same mistakes. Like, you don't have to make every mistake I made. I made a lot. And now if you'll just listen and try this, you know, here's the path that could be a little quicker to success if I were to do things over again.
Kaci, what would you say are some top performer traits?
Stick-to-itiveness.
Okay.
You know, sometimes people quit 5 minutes before the miracle.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's pushing through and being steadfast, you know. I think the other part, at least for me, I think it's very important to have empathy, you know, and really try to understand what people are going through and what they're dealing with and what motivates them. Kind of harkens back to Clint's point about relationship building and getting people to know, like, and trust you. I think that's incredibly important. Making the focus relational and not transactional, like you mentioned. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So passenger mindset, and I think a lot of agents sit here and they don't realize they're stuck here, but it's waiting on leads, waiting for the phone to ring, taking everything personally. You know, so many people got licensed when the housing market was very active during COVID. And so many of those agents disappeared because they just saw an opportunity and thought the phone would ring. There's all this business and low hanging fruit, but they weren't really here for it. Like, this wasn't a career for them, and they weren't in that performance mindset. It was, the phone will ring. I got my license. People just give me a call. And for a lot of them, even though the market was good, everybody was licensed. Everyone knew 8, 9 agents. So they weren't doing anything to make themselves stand apart.
Yeah, people look for easy money. And I think it's a disservice. Even, you know, I talk about this a lot on TV. The real estate shows, show 3 houses, buyer picks one, and you're done. You get a check. And I don't think I've maybe ever had that happen that easily. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many other steps and other things. And yeah, it's a lot harder than it looks.
100%. So, agents, are you a passenger or a performer? And if you are feeling like you're in passenger mindset, we need to get out of that. What are some things that agents can do to start kind of fueling it when they're not feeling it? So even passionate people don't feel fired up every single day. Habits are going to help carry you when you don't have those feelings. So Kaci, what are some daily habits to carry with you when you aren't feeling it?
Oh, well, on sunny days, I always try to get some time in the sun. That helps me tremendously. I do read a lot or audiobook. I listen to a lot of music.
Yeah.
So it's important that I carry my headphones with me because I might need to put on an inspirational jam.
Yeah.
You know.
Music also resuscitates me sometimes.
Yeah. So, and then, I try to be cognizant of what I eat and, all the stuff I put into my body. Like, it ebbs and flows, but I also try to stay active and exercise. And, oftentimes I can't think my way into a new way of acting. I have to act my way into a new way of thinking.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's doing what I should be doing and then the feelings will follow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's
The
good.
fake it till you make it sort of mentality. I like that.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Yeah. So Clint, what are some daily habits you carry when you aren't feeling it?
The positive mindset, I mean, that you really have, what you put in is what you get out.
Yes.
So what you feed,
100%. Yes.
what you feed your brain, what you feed your body, I mean, all of that matters. One thing I've been not so good at in the past, just taking care of my body, exercise and good food and, not drinking too much, all those things, it has an impact. It really does. I can make excuses. So one of the big things I've really cut, it's what you cut out sometimes that has more of an impact. So like TV at night, I don't watch a lot of TV, and I don't watch a lot of TV at night because I found that, like Netflix, it just keeps going and going and going. And what we thought would be, we're going to watch one show turns into 3. And then now I'm going to bed at 11 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock. And I'm not getting up at 5 o'clock like I planned because I stayed up too late and I feel bad. And then it's this perpetual thing. Well, now I'm not exercising. I'm not getting my quiet time. And then you just get in this negative routine. I've stopped listening to, AM radio for the most part. And I don't listen to a lot of music other than inspirational type things. So I'm a huge believer that if you're putting good things in, then good things are going to come out. And just being intentional about that daily. And if you don't feel good, you really, that's where you need a coach. That's where you need accountability partners. That's really helped. We just started these accountability groups here, and what's cool is I'm seeing these guys are meeting more than we've told them to, because I think they're realizing the importance of community and just having a cheerleader and having someone call you out when you're not doing the things that you're supposed to do.
Yes.
I think having accountability partners is a major part in my success, because I've always created that space. Even though I don't like it, I know it's something that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I think for people at home, if you don't have that, if you don't have a support group, both in the pointing out the negatives and building you up with positives, then I think you need to add that now.
Yeah.
That's a big part of being successful and getting through the day sometimes.
Yeah, especially for agents that are at not a brick and mortar. It's hard. We didn't realize that, because during COVID, we lost our office and we ended up going to a brokerage that's not a bricks and mortar. And we thought it was fine. Well, originally we thought it was going to be fine. And then it turns out it's kind of hard to just work with each other and that's it. And we're the only 2 people we ever see. And
Tell me about it.
okay.
I've worked with my whole family for many years, so I know.
I mean, that it's very difficult, and you don't feel like you're sitting at home, you're around your laundry, you're around all your things, and you're not getting to where you're feeling motivated by anybody. You're not really like holding each other accountable very well. And I feel like our work definitely got better when we ended up in an office here regularly. You just feel like you're so much more motivated, but especially for us, like husband and wife who share an office. We also, we obviously live together, and it's like work is here at work, and then we go home. Sometimes, I say to Kaci, like, I don't want to talk about work right now, because it's like you're kind of always in it.
Sometimes work finds us anyways, but
It does.
Yeah, it does.
we try.
I mean, we really do love it. So it just, sometimes it really is just like all day, but it's fine.
And I think you do have to find, if you're going to have the bricks and mortar, a place that it fills you up. There are places I've been, it's more cancerous. It actually would drain you going into the office. So you do need to make sure you find a place that, it's adding value to you and adding life and not taking it away.
I will say, going back to talking about like, this is why we do this. Whenever I hear agents say like, I'm so glad I came into the office today, I feel so motivated. That really is like fuel to me, because I'm like, I love that we get to be a part of that. I love being a part of like, man, I was having such a rough day. Like one of our agents said that at our mastermind the other day. She was like, man, I was just near the office, so I decided to come in the office. She's like, I'm so glad. Like even just sitting at the desk before mastermind, like she was just hearing other people talk and getting motivated. And I'm like, yes, thank you. Like that's exactly what I want. I want people to come. I want them to feel inspired and just go out and do amazing things in their business, because what you consume, like what you're talking about, what you're watching, and it's not just what you eat. Yes, everything that you're consuming into your body and into your mind is really what's going to come out. And I'm not going to say this as eloquently as I read it the other day, but the Epstein files have been like the big thing lately. And I was reading something that was talking about like, if you're like sitting here trying to consume everything that you're getting from the Epstein files, like it's kind of rotting you in a way, because you're seeing this like terrible, ugly things in the world. And so much of it is just, we don't even know exactly what's fact, but yeah, it essentially is like kind of rotting you. You're not taking in anything positive. You have to take that stuff with like just little bits at a time if that's what you're interested in. So anyway, some simple tools: anchoring to your why before you're making your calls and your door knocking. Have some small non-negotiable things that you're going to do. Like you're going to have, 3 conversations today, follow-ups, handwritten notes, whatever it is that you're going to do. Have your non-negotiables. And then your environment, kind of like we talked about, who you're hanging around, what you're listening to, what you consume. It's all a part of you. So make sure you're taking in those positive things, those things that really feed your soul.
Yeah, just pick one thing at a time and make little changes and try it out. And you don't have to change everything, at the same time. It's a process.
Yes, absolutely. Baby steps. So what is one habit that when you do it, everything else in your business improves? Clint.
One habit. Asking for referrals.
Okay.
I mean, it's so interesting to me, and I coach on this all the time. I talk about it. Ask and you shall receive. Don't ask and you shall not receive.
Right.
It's weird to me how so many people know I'm in real estate, and if I don't have that conversation of, hey, I need you to be an advocate for me. You're a part of my team. You're a cheerleader. You're one of the main reasons for my success. My sphere, my past clients, my friends. If they don't know that, they assume that looking at my social media, looking at my sales, that Clint's fine. He doesn't even need my help. He doesn't need anything from me. And that's not true. The only reason I have my success is because of all of the support of my people, because I don't advertise. I only work by referral. So if I go out and start asking for referrals, I start getting them. And I can't express that enough to people, especially new agents. Go out and have conversations and teach people that you want to work by referral, and ask for them to be a part of your team, and start showing them and teaching them how to refer people back to you and how to have those conversations. So maybe we'll do a podcast on this at some point about, my opening the door to a real estate conversation and getting the ask in. There's ways to do it. There's so many there's a lot of trainings out there. I've gone through Tom Ferry stuff. I've gone through, Brian Buffini. One of my coaches is a Brian Buffini coach. There's so many ways to get there. You just have to find the one that fits your personality. And we've got a couple ideas that we can share with that as well. But just asking for business, and please help me. I greatly appreciate that. And be earnest in that. I really do appreciate this.
Yeah, no, that's a great tip. Kaci, what about you? What is one habit that changes your business or improves your business when you do it?
What a thought-provoking question. I think I'm going to go back even further, and I'm going to say for me, as somebody who struggles with depression and anxiety pretty regularly, I have to take care of that. Like, I have to prioritize that well-being, because if I don't, like, everything suffers.
Yeah.
My health, my wellness, our relationship, business, relationship with the kids, like, you name it. So
yes, I agree.
So, for me, that has to be my, my go-to, is making sure that I'm paying attention to how I'm doing. And
yeah, and I'd say for you, and a lot of people are like this, is not like you're not an inconvenience, right? Like you need to be taken care of too. And I think a lot of people have that mindset. Like you feel like I'm an inconvenience. I don't want to inconvenience other people. And so you put your mental health. I'm not literally just saying just you, but people will put their mental health and things like that aside, not realizing that really does affect everything and how you're coming off to people. And yes, you have to feed yourself. You have to put the oxygen mask on you first.
Yeah, and I think people need to realize that it's okay to suffer from depression and these things. It's part of being a human, and you do have to do something with it. You know, you can't just let it consume you.
Yeah.
But don't feel like you're not normal or it's not normal for you, because I've been there. I mean, I went through years of depression, severe depression and anxiety, and it took me a lot of therapy and a lot of, I mean, I was on medicine and therapy and all the different things for years. And I finally got to a place where I can manage it. And you can have these things in your life and still be very successful. I mean, look at us. You and I both have had severe anxiety and have suffered from things. We didn't let it win. We didn't let that define us. And is it a struggle daily? Sometimes, yeah, it can be. And it is for many people, but don't let that be something that you say, well, I'm just going to give up. I'm going to quit because that's not true. This can be for anyone. And you can find a passion even through some of those hard things to connect with people at a deeper level.
Yeah. I also found that like sharing that story or, sharing stories about depression or, battling addiction and things like that have really just strengthened connections with people, because other people who have felt so much shame about depression, anxiety, addiction, whatever, they feel so scared.
Check.
They feel scared to talk about it. Like they carry shame with them. But then when you're brave enough to share your story with people, man, it really builds those connections and they appreciate that honesty and it allows them a safe space too. And we've even had agents that just like, they feel that safe space with like, I didn't know, you were going through that. And that, I mean, we've had like very emotional conversations with a lot of people, clients, agents that are like, oh my gosh, my family member's going through that. I'm going through that. And they were just too scared to say anything, or they felt like, no, I have to be a professional, so I'm not allowed to have those things happening to me. And that's
I threw professionalism out the window a long time ago.
Yeah, okay. There is a balance to it. Yeah. For sure.
There is a balance, which then brings me into the next part of that. It's funny how you queued that up in a really funny way. Am I a professional or am I just trying real estate?
I'm somewhere in the middle.
Okay. You're a professional, Kaci. Oh my gosh. And I will say a lot of new agents fall into this. They're like, we literally have new agents that are like, oh, I'm just trying this.
Yeah.
Like you really have to immerse yourself in it. You're not going to find success here.
Yeah, this is expensive thing to just try.
It's an expensive hobby.
So questions to think about. Do you see yourself as a professional real estate agent or someone who's just trying this out? When did you stop trying real estate and start treating it like your career? Because Kaci and I have heard this from several new agents when they say, well, I actually have a real job. When we say, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you make your calls? Why didn't you? Well, I have a real job. And I find that the most offensive because I'm like, what do you think I do here? Like, this is not my hobby. Like this is a real job, but clearly you're not treating it like a real job. Yeah. And there's the difference.
Well, that's the results are shown with that.
Exactly. So agents, if somebody watched your last 7 days, would they believe that you are a top producer in the making? Clint, what would you say are some things that you would identify as some top producing activities? Just so agents can look at themselves and be like, oh yeah, I'm like, give them a little bit of a checklist here.
I think prospecting, doing your relationship building calls, your time. So face-to-face, voice-to-voice, reaching out to people, staying in contact. I have numbers that I try to hit every month of how many people I want to have conversations with and how many times I want to ask for referrals, and do it in a way where they don't realize I'm even doing that. So, creating my calendar around activities that are going to be around the most number of people. That's a big part of what I do every week. I think that helps bring success. Closings, going to listings, going to closings, so if you look at my schedule right now, I've had several closings, I've had several listing appointments, I've had things. So that's a result of other activities, but yes, it shows that I, have success in it. You have to be careful though, just because you have a few showings set up or a couple closings, that doesn't mean that you are a successful realtor, because if you're not doing the things in that second quadrant that we've talked about, those prospecting, the money making activities, if you get stuck in the day-to-day things, the things that make you feel like a real estate agent, you feel busy because you're checking emails and you're showing
Adding people to your
houses
CRM.
yeah, add to the CRM. If you're doing all those little things that are important, yes. Some of them are urgent, but if we get stuck in that and we're not doing the money making things, then you very short term you look like a success.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have longevity to it. So yeah, I think for me, I do things daily that show that I will be a successful agent. And part of that too is having a day where you don't do anything. So, having some time off where you can recharge and taking time to get away. That's a big thing that successful agents, they have planning time. You'll have several hours every month that you want to dedicate to your just thinking time and planning time. I was reading a book yesterday, and I think what he said was once a month he does like a half a day of planning time, and then I think it was like once a quarter he'll do like a whole day of just thinking and planning, and then once a year he'll go away for like 2 to 3 days for thinking and planning. So you do have to schedule time for yourself to get creative and unplug and focus on the business and what you're going to do in the next year. So yeah, those are just little things.
Now, Kaci, working with primarily newer agents, what would you say are some sort of top producer in the making type activities that new agents should be working on?
Learning.
Yeah.
That's it. They really need to focus on their education. And unfortunately, not everybody, but there's some agents who think that they take a class or a couple classes and then they check a box and they're done. And unfortunately, that's very much not the case. I think the most important thing and what I see in agents who look like they're going to make it are the fact that they already have the I'm going to be a lifelong learner attitude.
Yes.
And making sure that they know that this isn't stagnant and it's always going to be dynamic. It's always going to be changing. So, that is something that some agents just don't get it.
I completely agree. You have to be a lifelong learner in this. I mean, Clint, you're a perfect example of that. You read so much, you still attend classes. You have to, because there's always nuggets to take away. You cannot serve your clients well in this business when you don't know how to write a contract, you don't know the law. You're really putting the cart before the horse.
You just check in periodically to what's going on in the industry. It's just, it's a misservice or a disservice to themselves and their clients. So.
Yeah.
Well, and this industry is changing so much and so quickly. If you're not paying attention, you're doing things illegally a lot of times is what we're finding. So yeah, education, you can never stop learning. I mean, as soon as you stop learning, you're going to fall behind, and eventually, you're not going to be able to compete.
Yeah, you will.
As our son would say, you're cooked.
You're cooked. Yep. Yeah, you will be cooked. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. Anything else you guys would like to add? Clint, say something inspirational to end it.
I want everyone to really, focus on what you love about real estate. Focus on the things that you are good at and do more of those things. If you can have an attitude of gratitude, it goes a long way. Just every day thinking about, okay, I'm grateful for the opportunity to do this. If you can focus on the positive opportunities and things and really be looking for that and just get out of your head and stay away from the negativity, stay away from those negative nagging thoughts, that tape that's running through the head, just push it away and every day focus on one or two things that you can control and that excite you about people, about the business, and hanging out around other positive people that will build you up and not take you down that path, then I think everyone that's listening could have a shot at really being a producing, effective real estate agent and actually like the job that they're doing.
Yeah.
But you have to control your thoughts and your emotions and your actions and do a few things every day. And it can be an absolute amazing career and not just my side job or my not real job.
Right.
I mean, this is our real job, and it is a real job, and it has so much value to people. So we need to treat it that way. and get excited about it. I mean, every day I'm grateful that I can do this another day. I get to do this, and I get to be around really cool people.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me, albeit you forgot to let everybody know I was here.
That's completely my fault, okay? I didn't have you in like my introductory notes here because I decided to just go run and grab you. So thank you for dropping what you were doing and making yourself available today.
We appreciate it.
Do you have anything you would like to add?
No, I just said thank you for gracing me with y'all's presence.
Okay, we appreciate it. Thank you. And yeah, and I've said this before, but I think it's just something to always keep in the back of your mind. Would you hire yourself? Because at the end of the day, people are not going to refer you. People that don't know, like, and trust you aren't going to use you. So, maybe you need to work on you a little bit, and that's okay. So focus on those right activities and get out there. So again, we are Ashley and Clint neighbors with Blair Realty Group with our impromptu guest, Kaci Gebora, also with Blair Realty Group. We are in the Houston market. If you're looking for an agent or a great brokerage, give our office a call at 281-698-0240. If you have any questions you'd like to hear answered here on the podcast, no guarantees, but you can send those over to ashley@blairrg.com. And that's the traditional spelling, Ley. And before we depart, I would like to remind you that knowledge is your greatest asset in real estate. Stay educated, stay proactive, and as always, keep hustling.